Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, children of all ages, this is the greatest time of the day. From the center of the universe, New York City, it's the main event you've been waiting for. It's time to go in the cage with CYCLONE!
And welcome back. A little bit of technical start, but hey, things happen. See, nuclear war happens. The only thing that's surviving is me and the cockroaches. All you people with your technology, out. Anyways, so we are flying through 2019. It is halfway over. Actually, a little bit more than halfway over. Weather is still a little bit too humid and a little bit too sticky for me. I'm not going to be happy till we're in the, 40s, 50s, because big guys like colder weather. And speaking of warm weather, and speaking of humid, and speaking of this day, I want to send a very, very special happy birthday to Kiani. Jeez, Kiani, you're getting older. You are like catching up to me. It happens. Some news in case you guys don't know. Luke Thomas is now officially done with MMAfighting.com. Hey, Brian, welcome aboard. So anyways, Luke Thomas has now officially joined the crew, not at ESPN, but at Showtime. And he's now doing a show with Brian Campbell on Brendan Schaub's Below the Belt channel called Morning Combat. And supposedly there's another show in the works. I don't know. But I look forward to seeing what Luke does in this phase of his career because, look, he was exhausted running around from New York to Washington, back and forth, back and forth. Now that he has one base to work out of, I think things are going to get a lot better for him. It's interesting because Showtime, outside of Brendan Schaub, really isn't MMA centric. It's more boxing centric. So I wonder if, and remember, Brian Campbell is their wrestling guy. Brendan Schaub is basically their MMA guy. We're going to be interesting to see which path, which avenue Luke Thomas takes. But guys, I need y'all to share the show, especially with some early quick issues. Gotta blow this show up. Need all you guys to share it, all right? I want you guys to check out CycloneComedy.com. Check out Psyche Prods on Facebook. And most importantly, EffectiveAggression.com. You don't want me to get aggressive with you, so I'm saying it nicely. Check out EffectiveAggression.com. Pick yourself up a t-shirt. Pick yourself up a hat. Pick up a prized signed glove for someone you know, for someone you like, for someone you don't like. But what we're going to do today is we got some games later on in the show. We're going to break down some of the things that happened at 239 because a lot of craziness. We're not going to get to everything, obviously. And we're going to talk some other goodies. And we're going to do all that right after this.
This is Frank Edgar. This is the Barbarian Tim Boach.
I'm World Series of Fighting undefeated lightweight champion Justin Gaethje.
MMA legend, UFC Hall of Famer, Iceman. Chuck Liddell. If you got the guts, step in the cage with CYCLONE.
All right, so we're going to see just how talented I truly am. And by the way, I hope all of you guys like the cleaner shaven version of CYCLONE. I had a, like a schnauzer, every once in a while, has to all come off. So, plus the heat, it was just bothering me so much. So, take it off once during the summer and, I don't know. Doesn't make me look that much uglier. Anyways, I'm going to see just how talented I am by being able to do two things at the same time. First thing I want to bring up is the fact that the WWE, with now Bischoff and with Paul Heyman being their head guys, running Raw and SmackDown, they are getting rid of their TV PG rating, which leads me to believe one thing and one thing only. Hell, I think Helen Keller can see this coming from a mile away. I think they're going to attempt another Attitude Era. And yeah, you know what? It was successful. I think it was, it was fun while it lasted, but I don't know in this generation, in the way the world is now, if the WWE could be successful doing an Attitude Era. With all the raunchy stuff. I don't know if that stuff will fly now. I really don't know. It's going to be interesting. And if it blows up in their faces, nobody to blame but themselves. Another piece of breaking news today, besides Luke Thomas of making his stuff official. Tyson Fury has let the cat out of the bag. He will be rematching Deontay Wilder. This time probably in Vegas. And it's going to be on February 22nd. So the first quarter of next year, boom, right off the bat. Just got to hope that Deontay can beat Ortiz and keep up his end of the bargain since, Tyson won, Because honestly, if an upset happens, if Wilder goes down to Ortiz, it takes some of that shine off that rematch. Still be big, still be huge for a rematch, but some of the shine will be gone. Another boxing story that has broken recently is that it looks like Canelo Alvarez is actually going to be taking on Demetrius Andrade. Probably right around the same time, early February. Well, look, you know what, Rudy? They don't have the workers to do a lot of things. Okay? That's hence their problem. They don't have the workers that can handle the situation. They can't take the reins, if you will. But they're going to try. They're going to try. I'm telling you. Anyways, the Canelo Andrade match will probably be sometime in September. And that's most likely going to be on the 14th of September, because that's when Canelo fights, because that is Mexican Independence Day. It's probably going to be in Vegas as well. And Triple G has already said he wants no part of Vegas on Mexican Independence Day. He feels that the cards are stacked so much against him. Wants no more of that. And honestly, I can't blame Triple G. The cards really are stacked against him. And it's not good. So only one can hope. One can pray that that fight goes off without a hitch. Now, if it doesn't come to fruition, Canelo has his eye on getting a 4th division championship. And what he wants to do is move up in class and pick up, or at least attempt to pick up, which he probably, I don't know if he could do it. I don't know if he could beat Sergey Kovalev. Sergey Kovalev is, when you step up in class, as we've seen this weekend in MMA, while moving up is better for the fighter, for the person, health-wise, you're dealing with guys with that much more power, and if your body isn't used to being up there, might not end pretty. Bad things happen. So that's all that. More breaking news. One FC, one championship, no matter what you want to call it. 2 signings of former now UFC fighters. They signed Arjan Buller late last week. Great pickup. They need a solid heavyweight. He brings a lot to their company. But now, just as I'm looking up at the clock, just like an hour ago, John Lineker signing a multi-fight deal with one championship. One FC, no matter what you want to call it. So one FC, one championship, they're picking off the UFC guys left and right now. So we'll see how, Lineker, because look, Lineker has a habit of swinging wildly and getting into wild type fights, and we saw how it worked for Eddie Alvarez. If you want to dance with the devil in the pale moonlight, as the Joker once said, you can get yourself hurt really fast. He who brings a knife to a gunfight normally loses. And the first thing that I thought of as far as UFC's 239 is concerned, and this is where I'll leave it before we break for a minute. Here's the thing. You're funny, Harry Hong. It is something that I'd like to see the UFC do more often in the future. And nobody talked about it. The only person to bring this up was me. Because I sweat the details. When people say don't sweat the small stuff, that's what I do. I constantly zero in on the small stuff. That's all I do. And here's the thing. UFC 239, if they wanted to go with a title, it could have very easily been ATT versus Jackson Wink. You had that in the main event, the co-main event, and the third fight on the card. That is something that I'd like to see more often. 4 or 5 ATT fighters against 4 or 5 Team Alpha Male fighters. 4 or 5 Renzo Gracie fighters versus 4 or 5, I don't know, Duke Rufus fighters. A couple of alpha males against a couple of Nick Catone's boys. Long Island MMA versus and Sarah Weidman taking on, I don't know, the BMF. You're very funny, Rudy. Taking on the guys from Colorado, or maybe Hardcore 365 in South Florida with Henry Hooft. Camps against camps, it makes for a good storyline. Okay, I mean, it would be hell. It would be absolute hell for the coaching staffs to have to worry about. It's hard enough for them to worry about 2 fighters from the same camp on a card. 3, 4, 5 on the same card. You're stretching a camp's, a team's abilities to the limits. But it might be fun. It really would. It's something I thought of that I would just love to see happen. Now, something else happened at UFC 239, and I know for most of you, you're not going to care. You're really not. But to some of you watching, you are going to care. So I'm going to bring this up. Once again, it's a small detail. Sometimes for the old UFC on Fox cards, the Fight Night cards, the UFC wouldn't put together programs. They would have bout sheets that they would give to everybody entering the arena instead of selling programs. But for the main cards, for the pay-per-views, for the numbered cards, they always had programs. And it's a key collectible to guys in the memorabilia market. And apparently for UFC 239, once again, the UFC, no programs for sale, just bout sheets. And that's just a show of cutting corners. Okay, the UFC suddenly does not give a rat's ass, okay, on wasting paper, cutting down trees, and that's why they're not doing programs. Okay, they're not suddenly, part of Greenpeace. It's laziness. And that is just another sad state of affairs as far as the UFC is concerned. But guys, you know what I'm going to say. I'm going to say it again and again and again and again. Click share, please. It's really, really urgently important to share the show. Plus, I'll smile and I'll be nice to you. Okay. Brian, Harry, Rudy, you want me to be nice to you? Click share. All right. And I'll be nice to you. See, it's a fair trade. Okay. Check out CycloneComedy.com. And obviously, effective aggression. But when we come back, we start to break down this weekend's card called UFC 239. Like I said, I would have called it ATT versus Jackson Wings. But we're going to do all that right after this.
Hi, I'm Jim Miller.
This is Dan Merigliotta.
I'm Derek Brunson.
I'm Nick the Carney Lentz, and you're locked into the cage with Cyclone.
All right, so obviously 239 had some crazy, wild, stupid finishes. Okay, and you know, as you're watching 239, you think, oh my God, Song Yadong easily knockout of the card finish of the weekend, counter right hand, easy knockout win. Another young alpha male product, hopefully not on the TJ Dillashaw path. And then slowly and surely, better and better finishes happen. And look, before we get to him, I think one of the highlights was Claudia Gadelha taking out my girl Randa Marcos. Here's the thing, Claudia made a statement. She was on the verge, and now honestly it's Randa Marcos is on the verge of possibly being cut from the UFC. Honestly, I can see that happening if she drops one more. As far as Claudia is concerned, she's already called out Joanna. She wants to trilogy her. Joanna is that in-between fighter. She's like that Kevin Lee. Here's the deal. She doesn't belong at 115. Her against Michelle Waterston, fine. Dana wants to kill Michelle. All right. Michelle dies. Joanna can't consistently anymore stay at 115. At 125, 125 is just too much for her on the other end of the deal. Okay. You saw what happened with Valentina and Joanna. And look, someone like a Caitlin Chukagian, someone like a Liz Caramouche, someone like a Macy Barber, all those girls are just too strong at 125 for Joanna. So Joanna has that thing she has to think of. Does she want to go and deplete her body where she pays a price in long-term health at 115? Or does she become a middle-of-the-road fighter at 125? Because obviously the UFC is not. They say they ain't doing a 165 for the guys. They are not doing a 120 for the females. That's not happening. So she's in the middle of the road. As far as Claudia is concerned, I think it now puts her possibly back on track to claim a shot against Thug Rose. It's something that has to be considered. It really does at this point. Now, there are some people who took losses on Saturday that it has to be the end of the road. It has to be the end of the road. And it's not good to tell someone, you've had it, you can't do it anymore. But the one thing in any pro sport, but especially in combat sports, you don't want guys hanging around too long. We see that with BJ Penn. BJ Penn should not have been allowed in a cage for the last 3 years. Because every time he steps in, he gets pummeled. And those people are Gilbert Melendez, who's a broadcaster. He doesn't need to be stepping back into the ring anymore, into the cage anymore, into the octagon anymore. Okay. He is his wife's head coach. He can train her. He owns a gym. He does the triathlons with the Diaz brothers. There is plenty of things Gilbert Melendez, El Nino, could be doing right now. Fighting, sadly, is not one of them. The other one has to be, obviously, Diego Sanchez. Look, Diego's been around forever. Forever. As Brian Horan would say, forever. Forever. It's the end of the road. Now look, he didn't embarrass himself. He didn't get, well, he got murked. Not murked. He got dominated by Michael Chiesa, but I don't know, man. I don't want to see Diego Sanchez, who has had 150 billion wars, who has suffered, I don't know how many concussions. If there's somebody who could possibly have CTE in MMA, it's Diego Sanchez. It absolutely is. I think Diego has to be pulled away. I think he's just one of those guys that has to be pulled away kicking and screaming. And you hope he just doesn't, once he's out of the UFC, you hope he doesn't go to a Ryzen or a One Championship. Okay, just for his health and well-being. You know, they can use him as what they did with Tito and with Couture and with Liddell. You know, he could be an ambassador for the support. That's good thinking, Bernard Joseph Green. But it's time. Even Dana knows it's time. And look, Dana called for Luke Rockhold to walk away. And that's crazy because, look, the one thing about Luke is Luke Rockhold is such a competitor. He has no respect for any of his opponents. Okay? And that's cost him recently. It cost him against Bisping, and it cost him against Jan Blachowicz. Should Luke just go be a full-time model for Calvin Klein? No. I think Luke, you do the Weidman Rockhold rematch at 205. You maybe put Rockhold in there with Corey Anderson, since Corey hasn't been, getting any fights recently. And here's the thing. The medical suspensions came out. Luke is out for minimum, possible, 6 to 8 months. So you let the rest of the division play out. It's the same thing with Thiago Santos. Okay. Santos and John Jones are both out for the rest of the calendar year of 2019. So when you say, who is John going to fight? Who's next for Santos? You can never truly say that until you see the medical suspensions, because you never know if someone's going to be able to come back in a week or if someone's going to be out for 10 freaking months. Okay. In this case, both guys are out for a significant time. Okay. So for the rest of the calendar year of 2019, guys, I'm telling you, UFC cards are going to be a lot less on the talent level. Okay, there's going to be a lot more people getting their breaks in the UFC on cards only because they don't have the top names available because of medical suspensions. He has to have surgery. That's why I said He's out for the rest of the calendar year of 2019. Okay, he already had 2 fights ago. Santos had his right knee done. Now it's his left knee. Look, that's gonna take a lot out of him. And did he? Can you say he got robbed? No. I scored it for John, and I don't like John Jones. John did just enough to win. If you're going to beat a champion, if you're going to take a strap off of somebody, you damn well have to make it an exclamation point of a way to finish. That's what you have to do. You can't not do it any other way. I'll say this about Amanda Nunez and Holly. I'll talk about them. Amanda, for a long time, Cyborg has been my number one. Just because Cyborg is someone that beats you before you're in the cage. Okay, the aura of Chris Justino, Cyborg, beats you. And she got popped. Okay, the balloon got popped. Now, what Amanda has done is Amanda has taken every one of them out. She's taken Valentina out twice. Do I think she's ever going to 125? No. There's no way on this planet Amanda Nunez goes down to 125. Is there a possibility that Valentina comes back up to 135? I don't know. She has a long list of girls, including Liz Caramouche, including Caitlin Chukagian, okay, and a plethora of other girls that are lining up for her at 125. I don't think she's going to have time to move up or down. So she's going to have to stay in her lane. But as far as Amanda goes, Amanda is hands down. I'm willing to bet Amanda could take out half the guys on the UFC roster. That's how certain I am on just how much of a badass Amanda Nunez is. Now, guys, click share. Okay? Check out Psyche Prods on Facebook, and then you can be eligible to win a raffle if you send in questions, unlike Susan Walker and unlike Bernard Joseph Green this week. Let me just double check the notes. Yeah, unlike those two, who I'm surprised, and Brian Joseph Iran, I'm surprised you didn't send in a question either. You have been absentee on raffles. Harry Hong, you too. I don't know why. Tell me why. Anyways, now that I've done my little diatribe, and in a little while, right here on Strong Island Television, is The Newman Show. And you're going to want to watch that. You're going to want to check out effectiveaggression.com. And when we come back, it's game time for the rest of the show, right after this.
I'm Dennis Bermudez. Hi, I'm a creepy Ian McCall.
Yo, I'm Kelvin Gastelum.
This is Mark Goldberg.
Yo, I'm the world's most dangerous man, Hall of Famer Ken Shamrock, and you're getting tapped out in the cage with CYCLONE.
All right, guys, we haven't done a spotlight in a long, long time. And this guy right here, Sanchez, best kickboxer on the planet. There is nobody better. Look, we've seen some kickboxers transition to MMA. Some have done not so great, like Gogan Saki. Some, like Israel Adesanya, have lit the world on fire. So, here's some things about Sanchez. He's 30 years old, all right? And what makes him special is the way he feints when he fights. I don't mean faint like, I mean faint like that, you know. Sort of like a rope-a-dope in Muhammad Ali terms, all right? There is nobody better than this 30-year-old guy. He lands kicks from every angle possible, and he lands them hard. He has a walkout that is absolutely insane with pyro. He is someone like a Chris Cyborg who beats you before the bell rings, before the horn sounds. You are already beaten. As far as boxing is concerned, he's only 5-2. But as a kickboxer, this southpaw, which makes him that much more deadly because he's a southpaw, because as we all know, southpaws mess people's brains up. Okay, it's harder to train if you're going to fight a southpaw than it is somebody, you know, as a righty. But his kickboxing record, I want you guys to really cue and listen in to this, is 294, 41, and 5, 37 KOs. Now, yeah, okay, 37 KOs out of 294 wins. It's a low percentage. But it's still 294 wins. Holy smokes. And to 41 losses? He's someone that beats you not only before the fight starts, he wears guys down. Sort of like a Lomachenko. Lomachenko doesn't have 1 billion knockouts. As guys, he beats people where they in boxing terms, kind of tap. Where they give up. He takes their souls. And that's what this guy does. And if you don't think this guy isn't great, let me tell you about Sanchez. Just how deadly of a fighter he is. He has fought, check this out, talk about moving divisions. He has gone from flyweight to bantamweight to featherweight to lightweight to welterweight. So this is a guy that's fought at every division from 120 to 170. That, my friends, is what you call a complete fighter. Most fighters, 1, 2, maybe 3 divisions. This guy is in 5 divisions, moving up and down wherever he wants to go. That is sick. It's the only word for it. Now, besides it being Kiani's birthday, and once again, Kiani, I want to wish you a very happy birthday. Let's check what happened on this day in MMA history.
Happy anniversary, happy anniversary, happy anniversary, happy anniversary.
All right. Besides Kiani's birthday, there's 3 other people having birthdays today. Angela Lee, I almost mixed up Andrea and Angela. Angela Lee is 23. Lee, 23. See, that rhymes. Young Gordon Ryan, one of the best guys on the mat. If you're on the mat with him, you lose. Gordon's only 24 today. And Long Island's own Randy Brown is 29. I don't remember 29 years old. It was too long ago. Also on this day in MMA history, 2 years ago, 2016, Cage Warriors 77 were 3 future UFC fighters, all picked up wins. And they are Jack Marshman, who lost this weekend, Darren Stewart, and Paddy the Baddy Pimblett. And that, my friends, is what happened on this day in MMA history. Now, obviously, we're drawing towards the end of the show, so it is time for everybody's favorite part of the show. Let's raffle off a prize! Okie dokie, Smokies. 4 questions this week. Question number 1 comes from Mr. Rudy Asher. What are your thoughts on multiple non-ranked fighters with multiple fight win streaks winning at 239? What are your thoughts on multiple non-ranked fighters with multiple fight win streaks winning at 239? Well, Rudy, look. Fighting is like any other sport. There's streaks. You could go on a nice winning streak. You could go on a nice losing streak. Them winning at 239, a couple of guys. Look, the young has to, the unranked, the young have to come up and take out the ranked. It's called turnover. It's young eat old. It's the way of nature. That's what happens. It's the way it works. Question number 2 comes from Kenny Hodgkins. Who or what is next for John Jones? Well, look, John's going to be out for a while. So, let's let 205 sort itself out. Okay, let's see what... Now we've seen what Luke Rockhold has done at 205. Let's see what Chris Weidman could do at 205. Let's give Corey Anderson a fight. Let's, Blachowicz, maybe one more fight. Let's give Reyes a fight. Let's give Johnny Walker a good opponent that's high ranked. Let's let the division sort itself out. But if we were back at the point where if we're at the point where John is now healthy, what do I think happens with John? I kind of want to see John run it back with Thiago Santos, honestly. It was that close that it deserves a rematch. But the fact that both guys are so injured that they left a piece of themselves inside the cage, I don't know if that's going to happen anytime soon. Maybe the Stipe DC winner, and I don't even know if he'd be healthy for that, either at light heavyweight or at heavyweight. So that's what I think about John. Kenny's cousin Augie Cherico's question number 3. What's next for Ben Askren? Okay, I've heard a lot of people say they want Darren Till. No. Darren Till, look, if Jorge Masvidal hasn't completely killed Ben Askren, Darren Till will. Okay, Till will put a hole in Askren's face. I'd rather see Ben Askren fight somebody more his pace. Only one person that's ranked, only one person fits the bill. and he has 1 or 2 fights left in his career. Damian Maia. Damian Maia and Ben Askren, let them leg hump each other for 3 to 5 rounds. Let that be the next thing for Ben. Because we know Damian's not going to put a hole in Ben's face. And we know Ben's not going to put a hole in Damian's face. So both guys are on equal footing. I think that should be what's next for Ben Askren. And question number 4 comes from John Jones from Chi-Town. John Jones, my man, who's working hard right now for another 3 hours, I believe. Not sure on the time difference. John's question is, between Carmouche Valentina, Max Frankie, DC Stipe, do you see any champ dropping their belt? I don't think Carmouche could beat Valentina. Although she gave quite a run to Ronda Rousey, I don't think Liz can beat Carmouche. Although Liz has power. She has heavy hands. She connects. It might be over. Max and Frankie, that's going to be a good fight. But Max's output is just so much. I don't know if Frankie could. I don't know if Frankie can hang with Max. And I guess if out of the 3, if someone loses their belt, I wouldn't be shocked if Stipe beat DC this time. You know, here's the deal about a power hitter. Same thing in baseball. Just takes one swing. Stipe lands one shot, it's over. So I don't know. If there's one, it's Stipe beats DC. That's what I see. And I could see, if that's what happens, I see DC retiring right on the spot. So, let's see who wins this prize that I'm giving away for free to all you people who didn't enter. It is number 4, John James, my brother man. Congratulations, John. Your prize is coming to you in the mail. Tomorrow afternoon, I will head over to the post office and I will drop it off. Now, guys, I want to remind you guys of something. This week, the PFL returns. Atlantic City. No, I'm not covering it. Have some other things I have to do with the Cyclone Variety Show this week, so I can't be in Atlantic City covering the PFL. But they do, nonetheless, return. And in just a few minutes, like I said, guys, it's the Newman Show. Dennis is in the building. So keep it right here. Now, like I say every week, I remind you guys once again, until next week, I am Cyclone saying, just because you are not an athlete doesn't mean you cannot be an athletic supporter. Arrivederci!